The iQOO 12's pricing is so good for a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 phone that most people would be willing to compromise on the camera performance. But you don't have to, because the camera hardware setup is absolutely fantastic and the results that we're getting is pretty good too. Which is why I wanted to find out if the iQOO 12 can match up or beat the iPhone 15 in a camera comparison review. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this video. If you're here for the first time, I'm Arshad, you're watching Track and Take English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. To start off with, the iQOO 12 has an OmniVision OV50H primary sensor which outputs pixel binned samples at 12.5 MP, whereas the iPhone 15 has a 48 MP camera and it outputs 24 MP pictures. And therefore it captures more details, which you can clearly see when we crop 100% into the image. In most pictures that we took, the iPhone did capture more details than the OmniVision sensor inside the iQOO 12. Now in HDR pictures, I noticed that the iQOO 12 has a slightly better control over the highlights, which you can clearly see in this image. And in fact, if you take a look at this picture of my colleague Meet, iQOO's algorithm recognizes the human subject and lights up his face nicely without the typical bloom issues that are associated with HDR pictures. Remember OnePlus? With respect to colors, the iQOO 12 shoots in a vivid color profile by default, and that definitely boosts the reds, the greens, and the blues. And when you check it right next to the iPhone 15 sample, you can see the difference. However, there is also a natural mode in the iQOO 12, and while the colors are closer to real life, the pictures are a little too contrast heavy. There's also a textured mode, which is a very weird color science, to be honest. And with that, the contrast becomes even heavier. Honestly, if you ask me, I actually preferred the vivid mode. I don't like such contrast heavy images, but the natural mode does bring out more natural colors. Which one do you prefer, vivid or natural? Let me know in the comment section below. Moving on to pictures of people, the iQOO 12's natural mode recreates a close to neutral skin tone, but it tends to brighten the skin. iPhone 15's skin tone reproduction is again close to neutral, but it's slightly warmer, and it gets the rest of the colors right too, for example, the color of the shirt. And more importantly, when you close into the subject, you will see that the iPhone 15 captures more details as well. Now in 1x selfie portraits, the iQOO 12 again tends to brighten the face. But if you're looking at purely the edge cutout and the semantic segmentation, iQOO actually matches up with the iPhone 15, if not better. In 2x portraits, iQOO pulls in more details, which was kind of surprising to me. But the best part is you can punch in further for a 70mm portrait using the 3x camera that shows the correct size of Meet's face and offers fantastic edge cutout too. I genuinely enjoyed using the 3x for portraits on the iQOO 12. More about the 3x camera soon. In low light shots, I have no doubt that the iQOO 12 beats the iPhone 15. The shadows are not as crushed as they are on the iPhone 15. Plus, the color science seems to be more accurate too. And as for the noise levels, they are well controlled on both the phones, and the details are equally matched too. So it looks like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3's ISP is definitely coming in handy for better low-light pictures. In general, iQOO also uses Vivo's algorithm, so Vivo definitely does better low-light pictures. And generally, when we've, matched or compared Vivo's or iQOO's phones against the iPhone, Vivo and iQOO definitely do better in low-light performance compared to Apple. And there are Apple apologists who will say that the iPhone tries to keep things natural, but that's not really the case. The shadows are too crushed. Now moving on to ultrawides, the iQOO 12 uses a 50 megapixel Samsung JN1 sensor. Now with the ultrawides, however, what Apple gets right are two things. The color science consistency with the primary camera, which is absolutely spot on, and the iQOO misses the mark most of the times. And the fact that the iPhone also has a much wider attached lens. So the field of view is wider compared to the iQOO 12. However, what iQOO lacks for in the wider lens and the color science consistency, it compensates with a larger sensor. So it pulls more details and has far less noise in pictures. For some odd reason, in the iPhone 15's ultrawides, there is way too much noise even in very good lighting scenarios, and therefore I was surprised. Generally noise is not too bad, but in daylight you shouldn't have noise, and that was really surprising to me. And when you look at low light ultrawides too, the iQOO 12 is better. It pulls in more light compared to the iPhone 15. So which one would you pick for ultrawide camera? Would you pick something that is more consistent with the primary camera in terms of color reproduction and the way the picture looks, or would you pick that pulls more details and has a better low light capability as well? If you ask me, the iQOO 12. And to top it off, the iQOO 12 has the advantage of the 3x periscope camera, and this is using the OmniVision 64B sensor. Now before we talk about the 3x shots, I want to talk about the 2x pictures, because the iPhone 15 can actually do in-sensor crop with the 48MP camera, so you do get more details compared to the iQOO 12 when you take a look at it. But at longer zoom ranges, starting 3x up to 10x and even higher, the iQOO 12 obliterates the iPhone 15. In fact, the iPhone 15 can do a maximum digital zoom of 10x, whereas the iQOO 12 can go up to 100x, and they're very proud of it. They actually have a badge over here. The same is true for low light performance, where the iQOO 12 actually obliterates the iPhone 15 at longer zoom ranges. In fact, even the 2x performance comes close to the iPhone 15 now. That's not it. You can use the telephoto for super macro shots as well. So you get 3x and 6x macro shots using the iQOO 12. That looks super duper impressive. All the pictures that we took are replete with details, and the iPhone 15 is no match because you can't even shoot macro. Selfies on the iQOO 12 also look fantastic. In fact, the skin tone accuracy is better here compared to the primary camera. I do, however, think that the HDR and portrait selfies are slightly better reproduced on the iPhone 15. Low light selfies, on the other hand, despite not having a night mode option for selfies, is better on the iQOO 12 compared to the iPhone 15. Alright, let's talk about video recording at 4K 60 FPS, and the iQOO 12 does get the stabilization right. There are a decent amount of details, and the sound recording is not too bad as well.
This is the video shot using the primary sensor of the iPhone 15 and the iQOO 12. This is the video shot using the primary sensor of the iPhone 15 and the iQOO 12.
But still, the iPhone 15 beats it with more detail, better sound recording, and better stabilization as well. That's something about iPhones, right? I mean, they generally shoot better video in daylight compared to most other Android phones. Which is also true for the 4K 60 FPS ultra-wide video recording, which you can see on your screen. The iPhone 15 is better than the iQOO 12. And in selfie videos, it's a pity that iQOO still only shoots at 1080p 30 FPS, where the iPhone can go up to 4K 60 FPS, so that's really no match. iPhone wins it fair and square. You know, there's one thing that was very interesting about the iQOO 12, and that is the fact that the iQOO 12 actually shoots better video in low light compared to the iPhone 15. I was genuinely surprised at how good it was, because it does pull in more details in low light when you're shooting videos, and the colors are spot on too. There's more exposure as well. Just take a look at it for yourself. Apart from that, the iQOO 12 has a few extra features like the Astro mode, the Super Moon mode, and all of these are definitely present. But one mode that I really want to talk about is the fisheye mode, which is introduced new for the first time, and I really enjoyed using it as well. There are a couple of different fisheye modes that you can try out, and the kind of pictures that you got with it were pretty creative to look at. So when you look at it overall, the iPhone 15 is definitely technically better when it comes to certain aspects, like for example, the fact that the primary camera outputs 24 MP samples, so you get more details, and the video recording quality is better too. Having said that, the iQOO 12 is definitely a more versatile camera overall. It could have been more consistent in certain situations, but the fact that you have a dedicated periscope camera, better low light performance in both photos and videos, so many different modes to play around with, and just the fact that iQOO uses high resolution sensors all around is a huge advantage for the iQOO 12. And it does all of this for a much lower price than the iPhone 15. And this is the first proper look that I've had with Snapdragon 8 Gen 3's ISP. And it looks like to me that if a brand wants to spend some time, I think they will easily beat the iPhone 15 series' camera performance, including the 15 Pro, with all the Android phones that are launching this year with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. I am really excited for it. What do you guys think of the camera comparison? Do let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.